Sixth grade, we're rocking and rolling through the second half of lesson 2. We got introduced to the Israelites yesterday. We met Abraham, we met Jacob, we met Moses. We got a good review of the first few books of what your history book calls the Hebrew Bible. The Hebrew Bible would be our Old Testament. The Torah, which we left off with yesterday, which contains our 10 Commandments, would be the first 5 books of our book Bible that we read today, and then we talked about the importance of those 10 Commandments and the relationship with God. Today we're going to cruise on. We're going to continue to talk about the land of Canaan and how they worshipped God and created this kingdom that we'll continue to talk about in the remaining lessons. We left off, we're down here, the land of Canaan. We remember our essential question is, how do religions develop? The Hebrew Bible states that Moses died before the Israelites reached the land God had promised them. A new leader named Joshua, number 1, guided the Israelites into Canaan, but they found other people living there. These people included the Canaanites and, somewhat later, the Philistines. Unlike the Israelites, these people of Canaan worshipped many gods and goddesses. They also had different ways of life. We know this guy's obviously in the Bible. Moses was not allowed in because of his sin. Joshua brought him in. They were not surprised when they found other people living there. They knew that the battle's going to start to get it. Nomadic tribes probably settled in Canaan as early as 3000 BC. Your notes number 2, guys. Nomadic, remember, they roam around. They have no permanent place to call home. At first, most of the people were herders. They journeyed with their flocks of sheep and other animals from pasture to pasture. Later, they settled in villages, farmed the land, and learned to trade. All backed up logically, all backed up in the Bible. We know Abraham traveled around with his flocks. Many different groups lived in Canaan. One Canaanite group was the Phoenicians. We met that in last chapter. We're going to continue to meet them. The Phoenicians lived in cities along the Mediterranean Sea in northern Canaan. Located near a major waterway, the Phoenicians were skilled sailors and talented traders. Number 3 in your notes. They used the sun and the stars to plot long sea voyages. Well-built Phoenician ships with oars and sails carried trade goods across the Mediterranean Sea to Greece, Spain, and even Western Africa. Phoenician sailors may even have traveled as far as the British Isles in northern Western Europe. So, guys, there's debate if the Phoenicians made it out of the Mediterranean Sea and up into the where Britain is. Up for debate, but talented sailors. The Phoenicians soon controlled the Mediterranean shipping and trading. At various ports, they exchanged cedar logs, glass, and jewelry. Number 4 in your notes, that's what they gave away. We call that exports. What are their imports? They traded for tin and other precious metals. One of the most valued Phoenician product was cloth colored with a beautiful purple dye. This dye was extracted from shellfish along the Phoenician coast. So, guys, in the Bible, sometimes you talk about dealers of purple cloth. You study the book of Acts. Paul converts a lady named Lydia in the city of Philippi. She's a dealer in purple cloth. So they literally collect little like clam shells, smash the stuff into liquid, and that gets purple. So it takes days and days and days of gathering these shells and then grinding them to get the purple, to dip the cloth in and churn it. That's why royalty could afford that. Nobody else could. Okay? As they traded, the Phoenicians founded settlements throughout the Mediterranean world. Carthage, a settlement in the coast of North Africa, in time became the most powerful city in the Western Mediterranean. Number 5 in your notes, guys. Carthage we're going to talk about when we study Rome. They're going to go to war with Rome to be the most powerful city civilization in the world. As a result of these settlements, Phoenicians' ideas and goods spread to other people. Think what your life might be like without written language. One of the Phoenicians' important contributions was the alphabet. Number 6 in your notes. Or a group of letters that stand for sounds. The letters could be used to spell out words in their language. The alphabet made writing simpler and helped people keep better records. So we've talked now, guys. In Mesopotamia, you had cuneiform. In Egyptian, you had hieroglyphics. Both of those started out as picture languages, where I actually have a picture for a full word. Hieroglyphics, especially, guys, you just worked with hieroglyphics, where we then changed the picture to being the letters so you could make a whole long variety of words, but the alphabet obviously simplifies. We have 26 letters, we can form millions of words with the 26 letters. The Phoenicians began using the alphabet as a way to keep track of trade. Later, the Greeks adopted the Phoenician alphabet. From the Greek alphabet, the Romans created their alphabet. The Roman alphabet is the most widely used writing system in the world today, so it just passed. That's why we give credit back to Phoenicians. If you remember in Chapter 5, that's what we talk about when we study sounds. We call it phonics. Giving credit back to the Phoenician people that did it. Let's learn about another group of people, the Philistines. Another group in Canaan, the Philistines, migrated near what is present-day Greece, from present-day Greece. They were one of the groups known as the Sea People, who invaded the Mediterranean area around 1200 BC. The Philistines set up 5 walled towns in southern Canaan along the Mediterranean coast. They were skilled in making iron tools and weapons, which helped them to create the strongest army in Canaan. Number 7 in your notes. The Philistines kept their own language and religion. Still, they accepted many ideas and practices from their neighbors in Canaan. So, guys, the Philistines in the Bible, we always went to war with them. They were a strong, invading sea people that did those things. Because other groups lived in the region, the Israelites faced a challenge, establishing Canaan as their homeland. They believed, however, that if it was God's will that they claim the land. Joshua led them in a series of battles to conquer Canaan. Number 8 in your notes. The Hebrew Bible tells us about the battle of the city of Jericho. There, Joshua told the Israelites to march around the city walls. For 6 days they marched while the priests blew their trumpets. On the 7th day, according to the account, Joshua commanded the people, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city." At the sound of the trumpet, when the people gave a loud shout, the walls collapsed. So they give it to you right out of the Bible in Joshua chapter 6. Awesome. The Israelites took control of the city after the walls of Jericho crumbled. That was number 9 in your notes. According to the Hebrew Bible, Joshua led the Israelites in other battles. Any land they seized was divided among the 12 tribes. After Joshua died, political and military leaders called judges ruled the tribes. The judges settled disputes. They also led troops into battle. The Hebrew Bible tells of a woman judge named Deborah who was admired for her wisdom and bravery. She told the commander Barak to attack the army of the Canaanite king Jabin. Deborah went to the battlefield as an advisor. With her help, Barak and 10,000 Israelites destroyed the Canaanite forces. True story. We normally don't study Deborah in Christlight. When we go through the judges, we usually get Samson and Gideon, and there's a ton more judges, guys, that we just don't hit it. But an example of a female leader, kind of like Hatshepsut in Egypt. Let's see what life was like. After many battles, the Israelite tribes won control of the hilly region of the central Canaan and settled there. Most Israelites farmed and herded animals. The land was rocky and dry with little water, so during the rainy seasons, farmers collected the rainwater. They stored it in small caves or under the ground. They used the stored water to irrigate crops such as olive, flax, barley, and grapes. That was number 12 in your notes. I think number 10, divided among the 12 tribes, was back a page, sorry. Imagine a rocky countryside dotted by square right houses. Most Israelites lived in houses that had 2 levels. Number 12 in your notes. The walls of the houses were made of mud, brick, or stone, plastered with mud and whitewashed. Floors were made of clay. Wooden beams supported a flat, thatched roof covered with clay. During the day, people cooked and did household chores on the home's lower level. At night, donkeys and goats bedded down there. The animal then slept on the upper level. Okay, so half of that is how we heat and cool houses, guys, and then also just protecting our animals. It's like bringing them into a barn, but we didn't build 2 separate buildings. We just went 2 stories. According to the Hebrew Bible, the Israelite tribes worshiped God in a large tent-like structure called the tabernacle. 13 in your notes. The Israelites believed that the tabernacle housed God's presence. This structure was taken down and put away as the Israelites moved from place to place. In Canaan, they erected the tabernacle at a religious center called Shiloh. So while they were in the desert, guys, and roaming around for 40 years, tabernacle up and down. Came into the promised land, moved with them until they conquered the promised land, and then they set it up in the city of Shiloh. All good, accurate things. The Hebrew Bible says that the tabernacle housed a sacred object called the Ark of the Covenant. And the last notes that you're filling in. The ark was a gold-covered wooden chest, held tablets or stone slabs. That's your Ten Commandments. The Israelites believed that the Ten Commandments were written on these tablets. The Israelites believed the ark was a sign of God's presence and that having it with them in battle would ensure victory. So they're taking a story, guys, of Eli and his 2 sons. They had lost a battle, and the next day they went to battle with the Philistines, and they took the Ark of the Covenant with them because they said, if we have the ark with us, God's with us, and we'll win. That wasn't true. They lost that battle. But it was the presence of God as he went through those things. So you have the Ark of the Covenant pictured for you there. You have the 10 Commandments that was given to him. That's in your Bible, guys. If you know your 10 Commandments, the way we study them, we say do not worship any other God and do not bow down and worship false idols. We put that 1 and 2 here all as one. Martin Luther is probably about the only person that does that. So almost every other place you'll see that, guys, including the Bible, First Commandment, Second Commandment, Third Commandment, Fourth Commandment. In the way you memorize them in school, this together is the First Commandment. This would be the Second Commandment. This would be the Third Commandment. Honor your father and mother before. Don't murder 5. Don't commit adultery 6. Don't steal 7. Don't give false testimony 8. And then we break this one up. They say do not want anything. We say do not covet. And in number 9, we say don't covet your neighbor's house. And in 10, we say don't covet anything that's inside that house. Doesn't really matter, guys. They're the 10 Commandments. The Phoenician sailing ships, where you had crews that could row to go in any direction. Okay, guys, the other thing that's in your history book is an example of the alphabet here. You can see how we have it and then just how it progressed. Now, please don't get hung up on, oh, I can see why we have a B here because it's supposed to look like a B, C, D, and the letters that go along with it. That's really not that important. It's just the fact that we have the letters that go along with it. Okay? City of Jericho picture. And last but not least, the tabernacle. This would be your Ark of the Covenant here. This would be your gathered on the outside and the altar. So remember, when we walked into the people would gather here and offer their sacrifices. Once a year, we would go into the holy place and the most holy of holies. So lots of times we look at the tabernacle and think of a church. It's not that, guys. Church we walk into and worship all the time. That's not how the people would gather out here and bring their sacrifices to be offered to God. Okay, that brings us to the end of lesson 2, guys. So you have your worksheet, and I said lesson 2, sorry, second half of lesson 1. So you have your worksheet. There is a misprint on your worksheet. And that misprint is in letter D. It says the Phoenicians. You got to cross out Phoenicians and write Philistines. Okay, so like Goliath, the Philistine, that's letter D. That'll match up with number 1 then. Okay, so they misprinted. I apologize for that. Number 1 should be D, but it shouldn't be the Phoenicians. It should be the Philistines. All right, have a good day.